Please turn off your phone. Put your phone on silent. Somebody please remind me to turn mine back on later today when we're done. For those of you who are kind of new here, I'm Richard. I'm the chair. I'm the president here. I want to first read our purpose. Is to protect and enhance city neighborhoods. The coalition shall address the needs of neighborhoods and stand in support of these needs. The coalition shall consider action when it is requested by a neighborhood and shall work with the city in a cooperative spirit. That's our purpose. So, next we need, let's get right to a crime report, which I have up here on the screen. Where did?
I'm right behind you, sir.
Wonderful.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday.
Internal foods, I guess.
Go away, Joanne.
Want to make sure we get them. Yes, sir.
It'll- Oh. Okay, there we go.
You can go to the next slide.
All right. You want to work this? Okay. All right.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Just came to give you some crime stats for the month of April. So, just for the month alone, we're going to start off. We had 0 murders this last month. We've had aggravated assault running 12. Robbery was, 6. Sex crimes were 1. Burglary was 14. Larceny from a vehicle was 12, and motor vehicle theft was 11. Okay, so we're gonna break this down from January of 2023 to April of 2023, and then compare it to January of 24 to April of 24.
Matt, just a date.
Year to date. Excuse me.
Do we need to give Pat a microphone?
No, we got it.
You don't need one.
So, all right. So in year to date, so in 23, we had 0 murders, and so far in 24 we've had 1. Next slide. So in 23 we had 82 aggravated assaults, and then we're at 70 this year. So we're down from last year. Robbery. So robberies in 23, we were at 30, and we're at 23 for this year, so we're down. Sex crimes, we were at 10 last year, and 8 this year. Burglary, we're at 68 in 23 and 51 so far this year, so downward trend. Larceny from a vehicle, 112 last year, and then we're down to 48 so far this year, so great downward stat. And then motor vehicle theft, 47 for last year and 35 so far this year, so downward stats. Next page. All right, so I know we got asked questions about some traffic stats. So I got April speeding stats for you this time. We had 289 citations given for speeding and 90 warnings for speeding. Then they asked about traffic crashes. So we had 265 traffic crashes, 2 of them involved a pedestrian, and 10 of them involved a bicycle. So our little crime prevention.
The crashes, is that, so there was a report issued, or they responded to a call?
Well, usually it's a report / responded to a call, yes.
Because sometimes reports aren't issued for a crash.
Well, driver exchange. Yeah, oh, you mean if like they?
Like an incident.
Yeah.
If they,
Or
if
they
they
do
we don't
driver's
want to do it.
exchange.
then,
Yeah. But we still respond. And it's not,
Okay, but that's reports,
yeah,
not
yes,
response.
correct. Yes. So the crimes of the month go for hurricanes.
Matt,
Yes.
were there any fatalities?
I did not get that one.
Next one.
Next one. Yep. We'll add it on there. Okay.
All right, thank you.
So this month, because it's upcoming hurricane season, so I just wanted to give you some crime prevention tips for that. So as we all know about getting extra food and water sandbags for prepare for this. We just wanted to let you know that looting seems to be like the #1 thing that occurs during a hurricane before and after. So make sure you're always locking up your items, keeping valuables, and keeping your home and car doors locked at all times. Also, a lot of scams occur during this time. So if you have any issues and you think something is going on with these scams, you can always report this to the Better Business Bureau. And then a few other, just some tips for you. Just work together as neighbors, keep an eye out for each other, and on the homes throughout the storm. Criminals are always looking for an easy opportunity, so always make sure you secure your valuables like we said. Don't announce any of your plans during this via social media, so don't say, hey, I'm going to Tallahassee or Georgia during this, please. And then, of course, if you see any price gouging, please, you can report that to the Florida Attorney General's office.
Dad,
And then, what?
question please?
Yes, ma'am.
Would this be a good time to ask, or should I wait?
I think I have one more slide, and then I'll let you. So, there's a couple events coming up. We got Coffee with a Cop on May 3rd, Painting with the Police on the 15th. We got the Citizens Academy coming up, Packed Patrol Car. We got the Ride of Silence on May 5th. We got a cookout at Robert L. Taylor July 5th. We got the grand opening of the Homeless Outreach Office. It's still to be announced. Payne Park Blood Drive, June 6th. And then Pickleball with the Police on June 22nd. And then, Richard, can you just do one more for me? And then connect with us through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Our emergency line is, of course, 911, and then the non-emergency 941-316-1199.
Yeah, question, during the hurricane season, for those of us that live downtown and stay, and leave, a lot of us, I live in Tollsport, a lot of us in Tollsport band together, during the hurricane. For those of us that have something to offer, to our people, all of us, when the hurricanes come, is there some way that we can communicate with each other that, I have this skill, and if something happens, like I'm a registered nurse, so if your power goes off and you have somebody who's on, life support or something, call me and I'll come over and help you in any way. So is there a call-to list for people like, say for example, he's an electrician or where it is, that we can band together and help each other somehow during this time?
Well, I mean,
Repeat.
oh yeah, so she's just asking, is there some kind of form of information for people and contact information that might have a skill set that could help somebody if their power's out? I.e., she's a nurse, so if somebody's having some kind of issue, health issue, so how?
Someone to come in.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that'd be great for you and your association to get together and have a contact list and make that and send that out, so.
That's Todd Kirkering.
Yeah, and Todd too, but
Yeah.
she's asking as a group, right?
Todd would be a great contact for that.
Okay.
Well, I'm just saying that
Yeah.
to see you, Anna and I, we've kind of started doing that, but I'm just bringing it up for everybody that's in here, a lot of seniors are all alone. And, if we can go tap on your doors and let them know that we're staying behind and we're helping, they're very, very appreciative of this. I don't know if you guys do that, but we do it and it's a home run for us.
So real quick, to follow up on the information that Matt gave, we do have a CRT program. It's handled by Todd Kirkering, thank you, Richard, that you can register your neighborhood in. I would strongly suggest that you take a look at that program because he'll categorize everything. There's some brief training that you have to go through for the community just so you don't get over your skis as far as liability is concerned. But every one of your neighborhoods should really reach out to Todd as you move forward, just to know what assets are available in your area, because a lot of times if there is already one set up in one of your neighborhoods, you might just not know about it. Strongly recommend, we do a lot of our emergency communications via Twitter. So when things are really happening, we don't go on Facebook a lot, we go on Twitter because it's pretty much real time. Make sure that you're following us with the blue checkbox, not, what is the one called? No, it's City of Sarasota County. It's very funny, but it isn't real. So it's a fake account. So that does exist, so please reach out to Todd Kirkering. I'll make sure that Richard has his contact information at the end of the day, so you guys can reach out to him, or Todd Kirkering, pardon me, his legal name is Richard, and we'll go from there. So, Matt, thank you very much, and anybody else have any more questions about crime stats? No, good.
All right.
Perfect.
Thank you. Pat, would you give this to Lou? Lou is going to do our special guest.
Perfect.
And I'm gonna
Mr. Lou.
change the presentation.
Do we shut it off? No. You know, I just want to take a second. All of us seem to be struggling with not enough time in our lives to do what we want to do. And so I want to just tell everyone how much I appreciate everyone giving up a Saturday morning once a month. It is phenomenal if you think about it. None of us have enough time to do all the stuff we're trying to do. So with that, our County Commissioner, Mark Smith, raise your hand, please. Stand up, come on. There you go. Mayor, Jen, no, sorry, that's our Vice Mayor, Jen, sorry. Mayor, Liz, there you go, thank you. Commissioner Debbie, thank you. Marlon Brown, where's our city manager? Hiding in the corner, there he goes. Pat Robinson, oh boy. Everyone already knows it, Pat, you already got up here. Steve Corva, Director of Planning. Steve, thank you. And by any chance, I don't see Lucia, is she here? No. All right, thank you. Also, we have with us Chief of the Police, Rex Trade, thank you. We also have with him part of his team. We got Captain Rob Armstrong, he's Captain of Patrol. And we have Captain Ken Raines, he's the Captain of Internal Affairs. Before I turn this back over, I just want to publicly thank the police. They've been giving Berkey police patrols, and our walkers are happy. It is slowing down traffic. Thank you. Who did I forget?
Walter, where's Walter?
Oh, excuse me. Walter Bailey, please stand up. Where are you, Walter? Walter is from the Brotherhood of Men. Hang on.
All right, thank you. And before we continue, is there anybody at the table that's new? Thank you. Your name, please.
Beth Netside from Golden Gate Point.
Golden Gate Point, Beth. Thank you, welcome. There is one person back at the table who I want to mention, and that's Scott. He hasn't been here in a long time. My first adventure at CCNA, I sat between Scott and John Susi. That was an experience. Anyway, it's time. Pat, what are you doing? Get up here. Come on, get up here.
Never let me sit up front, so.
It's time for the special presentation, and Pat is asked to introduce our guest today. Pat.
Morning, everybody. Obviously, happy CCNA Day. Since it's the first Saturday of every month, it's no longer Saturday, it's CCNA Day. Nancy Kelly asked me to say good morning to everyone. Her daughter turned 21 last night, so she's babysitting for her 21-year-old daughter this morning, rehydrating. So she will not be here because she's taking care of family. So she okayed me sharing that because she's having an interesting morning, I would venture. So we've got our chief and two of our captains here to give you some of the excellent work they did last year on the crime reduction that we saw, historic crime reduction, and how they came about that. But I'd just like to take 2 seconds to introduce each one of them. Obviously, I'll save the best for last with Rex. But our two captains, Rob Armstrong, he has spent most of his career in patrol. He was a narcotics detective for 12 years. Some of the biggest cases that we've seen in my generation of policing, Rob was responsible for many federal indictments, many state indictments, great investigator. Ken Rainey is a combat veteran of the United States Marine Corps. He is one of our, thank you for your service. I think we lit the bridge yellow just for you, Ken. He's been with us for a very long time, and he's in charge of not only internal affairs, but training, which is so important to the police department to really set the tone for our officers. And he is also a legacy. So his father was a lieutenant who worked for me God, it was like 15 years ago, one of my first lieutenants. He was fantastic. So great lineage of leadership. So we're very happy to have them here. And our chief of police, Rex, where'd Lou go? He's in the back. Trochet. Yeah, I've heard Troche, yeah, so it's Trochet. But he just goes by Rex. So Rex and I actually started about 2 years apart. He came from Largo. He's on the SWAT team. Came to us. He spent a lot of time in patrol. He left the agency to help out one of his family friends in need that was struggling with cancer. But before he left, he said, look, I love this place. I love this job. I'll be back. And we were like, yeah, sure, okay. And about 18 months later, Rex came back, lost his ID number, which is a big deal in policing because you lose your seniority. So he started basically right back over, became a detective. We worked as detectives together for about 7 years before we got in the promotion game. He and I actually studied for promotion together, our first round, and he is a super intelligent guy, very committed to the community, and we are very pleased to have him and his command staff here to have this presentation. So without further ado, Mr. Rex.
Thanks, Pat. I can't believe you remember all that. You have a great memory. It's incredible. So I just want to start out by saying I am Chief Rex Trochet of your Sarasota Police Department. So thank you for having us here. Richard did tell me there are donuts here.
No, that's not what I told you.
So I see the games that you play, sir. We'll take care of that. We know what car you drive. So I just want to start out by saying that, and I hesitated maybe 7-8 months ago, but I'm going to say it. This was the best year in the city history of the Sarasota Police Department, by far. This was the first year in 56 years we did not have a homicide. The year prior we had 7. This was the first year we're homicide free in 2023. So that's an amazing achievement by your officers and everybody here and the city. Couple that with the largest decrease in crime since 1999. So that was another 16.2% drop. I can tell you as an executive, when we go to these trainings across the country, they talk about, hey, setting the bar, and they say, hey, drop your crime by 3%. Don't shoot too high, don't put too big of a goal. And we didn't drop it by 3%. We did not 6, not 9, not 12, not 15, but 16.2% was a crime drop in this city. So thank you very much for your help as well. The year was so big that we had the Attorney General come from Tallahassee, she really lives in Tampa, comes from Tallahassee to visit us to thank us for all the hard work that we've done because we are a law and order state and this is a law and order city. So thank you for your help on that. We've been acknowledged throughout the country as well on different websites, so thank you. I want to kick this off. When we saw that the numbers had dropped, I got with the team and I said, what's the why, right? We want to know the why. We don't want to be lucky. Everything that we do, we want it to be specific, measurable, attainable, repeatable, and timely. We want to continue to do the same thing to see the numbers go down. And as you can see by the presentation that Matt gave, the numbers have been going down, and that's because we have been consistent. So I challenged my team and I said, listen, show me the why. Why is this happening? Because we want to continue to do this. We don't want to be lucky. We want the same drop, if not greater, the next year. We set very high goals in this agency because everyone in this city expects that. This is a concierge service department. I hope everybody does realize that. Because as I talk to other agencies, there's things that we do that other agencies will not do anymore, just because they don't have the bandwidth to do it, but we still continue to do it with the bandwidth that we have. So without further ado, I'm gonna bring up, who's up first? Rob's up first, Captain of Patrol, and he's gonna give you the why, and then I'll close it up at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I don't know if we're gonna cast onto here, Richard, you know?
Oh, you need that up there? Oh, well, oh, you got it? Oh, there we go. Yeah. Yeah. I figured they'd sit here.
So for 2023, here were our numbers, and because we don't have a ton of time, I'll kind of fly through some of this, but if you look at this, all of our proactive police work, physical arrest, charges, summons, felony arrest, drug charges, firearm seized, warrant arrest, charges, these are all people that probably should go to jail, that go to jail. What it shows is your police officers are working hard. And those folks that need to get put in jail, unfortunately, they're going to jail, and that's a good thing. So what it shows is The crime stats are down, and all of the proactive police work is up. That is a wonderful contrast for 2023, and that's part of the why. You can see all those numbers were an increase, which is really good. So from the very beginning, the chief, we are setting a culture and a tone with our new officers, and a lot of our officers are brand new, super new. A lot of the folks I have have only been a police officer less than 3 years.
You're good.
Oh,
You're good.
I saw you do this.
Could you move over one, because you're sitting right in front of all these fantastic slides.
The culture from the very
You're not
beginning.
gonna win, yeah, right.
The culture from the very beginning is really instilled in these young police officers and what we expect of them. The chief mentioned it earlier. Really what we want from them is to be nice, be professional, do a great job, be kind, and if you have to arrest someone or do an investigation, that stuff is sort of today on the backside of just being a good person. So the culture starts in the beginning. Last year we had a staffing increase, which is great. We had the largest class of new recruits. It was 18. So we had a lot of police officers on the road last year with 18 recruits, biggest class in SPD history. With officers that are happy at work, excited to be there, the motivation goes up, the proactivity goes up. That's pretty self-explanatory. If we are hiring officers that have prior law enforcement experience, that's a good thing because they already have a foundation of some things they already know. They bring some things to the agency if they've been on SWAT. I also came from another agency, so you have a lot of folks that left an agency that want to work in Sarasota that come to our agency, which is a good thing. We also have, where am I at? Proactive. You go to the next slide. Thank you. So talking about the culture, and this is pretty easy. Right now, what the vibe is, and I talk to a lot of police officers in my division, the morale is up and the officers are happy. So they enjoy coming to work, they enjoy being in the community, they're having a good time at work. If you like coming to work and you enjoy what you do, you're gonna be positive, be happy, treat people nicely, and have strong work ethic. Your police officers are doing that, and this is a fantastic thing. Internally in the agency, we have really amazing transparency. We have a focus group, they meet bi-monthly. And what that is, the chief brings in folks from every division, and there's someone represented all across the table. It kind of looks like this, but much smaller. And everybody within the agency gets to talk about things that they want. If they want something changed or something's not going their way, they get to bring that up directly to the chief. And what happens in these meetings, this focus group meeting, is if somebody doesn't like what's going on, they tell the chief, he picks up the phone, he calls me, he says, do this. So we're doing things immediate, real time within the agency so folks realize that we're being super transparent and changing whatever we can change immediately. And if we can't, lots of follow-up. The police are really big on follow-up. I can't not call people back or not answer emails. We're extremely responsive to everybody. We have an internal suggestion box. The deputy chief gets these every day. Some of them are funny just to mess with him, but the ones that are real are immediately responded with, and they go out to the affected divisions to make those changes and suggestions, and we immediately work on those. Then there's follow-up to the agency with an email so all the officers see the suggestions and know what the results were. Again, the chief mentioned the concierge service. We talk about this. And again, I'm just gonna stay on this a little bit. We are just nice to people. We're nice, so that's a good thing. So when I talk to the officers that come in, I say, please, like, it doesn't matter if you go out and write 20 tickets or make 3 arrests today. I just want you to be professional, be kind, be nice. We have officers that save lives. Our Marine guys, I can talk about them, but we're saving lives. We're doing wonderful work, and it is a concierge police service, and we do a ton of things. I am trying to fly through. I think we did this in front of the commission meeting, a couple hours long. Policing with expectations from the very beginning, and Kenny's in charge of training. The officers know exactly what we expect from them, and it's a ton. They're wearing a body-worn camera. The expectations are totally different from when I started the shop a long time ago. We expect a lot of the police officers, a ton, and they're doing a great job. 2 officer vehicles. This is driven by if staffing is appropriate. The way that I do this is based on the crime stats. So there's a particular area where there's, say, thefts or burglaries. We're gonna double up that police car and have more officers in that area. The advanced investigative technologies, we have AI and all kinds of fun stuff today that we didn't have back in the day. That's helping police officers real time in their vehicles, on their computers, on their cell phones, giving them information to help them with investigations. Stolen vehicles, people that have warrants, they're learning that information immediately in their car while they're driving around. That is wonderful. I talked about body worn cameras a little bit. We didn't have them back in the day. We have them now. They're wonderful for many reasons, but it's transparency, immediate results. It gets into complaints and looking into that, but the officers are wearing a camera. We're dealing with individuals that know we're wearing the camera. I think it's had a wonderful impact in many ways. Directed patrols and hotspots, I look at these every morning when I wake up and I get mad if there's a typo, but directed patrols and hotspots are, again, if there's an area where crime has spiked, which thank goodness we're in Sarasota and every day it's not that bad, but anywhere we have issues, we add a directed patrol. So I might say, hey, tonight I want you guys to be in St. Armands, Lido doing traffic. And then in the morning I look at it and they'll say, hey, we wrote 8 tickets and 8 warnings. So we give them specific areas to be in while they're on patrol if they're not handling calls for service. The creation of the field training officer sergeants, that's really Kenny's thing, but I'll just touch on that real quick. Last year, having that largest class of 18 recruits that came through our agency, biggest in SPD history, we created another layer of oversight. So we have a recruit that comes in, they have a field training officer, which is an FTO. We created an FTO sergeant. So we had another layer of oversight. There were so many recruits. This was a great thing. Oversight's wonderful, and then it keeps all those layers of oversight, which is good. Extra duty details. If you work at the Sarasota Police Department and you want to work overtime, you could work every single day. You could probably never go home. This is good because we offer the details in certain things. Traffic, homeless outreach team, downtown, foot patrol. If you want to work overtime, you can do bicycle patrol, foot patrol, ATVs on the beach. We let you work overtime. The chief has just said, let them work if they want to work. So if you see police officers, they may be working an actual extra duty detail and they're not actually on duty, which is good. And I'll tell you that sometimes there's an officer called unfilled. And what that means is we didn't fill it because we couldn't fill, we have so many. So there's definitely opportunities here for the extra duty. Our Tahoes, the reason I mentioned this for visibility, I'm talking about the why. If you haven't seen them at night, they're unbelievably bright, which is for safety. So the Tahoes are big, they're super bright. I had a police car in the mid-90s that had a street hawk light this tall, and you could hear the thing going around, and you could only see it from like 2 feet away. So the police cars today are awesome, big, visible. We have really cool police cars. Traffic, marine, and homeless outreach. I could spend 2 hours on that one and 2 hours on that one, but I'll say real quick. Our traffic and marine unit are fantastic. They are traffic homicide investigators. They are trained. They are your homicide group working your serious bodily injury crashes and your traffic fatalities. That's their primary job. If they're not doing that, they're in your school zones writing citations. They do a ton of work. The stats are unbelievable. I'm really proud of them. They're the folks getting called out. They get called out more than our actual criminal investigations division. So they're called out every time we have a serious bodily injury crash or unfortunately a fatality. Their phone is ringing 24/7. My phone rings, his phone rings. Our phones are never stop ringing. Homeless outreach, we are shadowed by agencies throughout the United States. They come to our agency. We are driven by finding people housing. We're driven by that. We're not driven by arrests and handcuffs. So we're followed, we're shadowed, we are a best practice model. They watch what we do, they love what we do, and surprisingly, when Houston showed up, they have 5,500 cops, and they showed up and our homeless outreach team has 4 officers. They were shocked. They thought they'd walk into a room like this, and it's very small, but very effective. Community Relations Unit, I could spend a lot of time on that. I'll fly through it. Last year, July 2023, we created this unit. We divided a street crimes unit, created the Community Relations Unit, which is public relations, events. They handle all of our stuff that is just be in the community, be visible, in events that are internal, external. They do a ton of work. They're awesome. If we have an issue that's not really going to require handcuffs, working with kids, programs, the chief has them on speed dial. I could talk about it for a while, but it's an amazing program. It's going really, really wonderful. Love it. It's awesome. And I know the chief calls the sergeant there directly. It's great. The community response team, I have folks that live in Newtown. They're they love Newtown. They've lived there their whole lives. They are very invested into what's going on there. We bring them in. We're going to do operations. They know what's going on. We do debriefings. We give them stats. So anytime we're going to do anything, if there's a critical incident, like right now, unfortunately, if there was a shooting right now, my phone would ring, I would know about it, and I'm calling members of the community that want to know what's going on, where is it, and how can they be of assistance to us. So in the event that we have a critical incident, we have 7 folks that live and work in Newtown that I'm on speed dial with, that we're in constant communication. It's a great thing. Yeah, I figured.
Keep going.
We hired Lachelle Williams last year, volunteer coordinator with our community relations unit. She's amazing, she's awesome. She's doing Police Explorers, a ton of work. She's awesome. Pastor program, chaplain program. She's awesome. If you don't get a chance to meet her, I'd love her to come here. She's great. This is a really wonderful thing. We have volunteers back in the building post-COVID. She's super busy. I can trust you on that. Youth Empowerment Services, we have Brotherhood of Men here, right? So Brotherhood of Men, Truly Valued, and Teen Court are partnered up. What we realized was, how do we get with our kids if we've been pulled out of the schools because we no longer are inside schools, but we actually are, because we're back in the schools with the YES program, referral forms. So if we deal with children on the street that are on the verge of issues, we have programs and resources for them. Thank you, Brotherhood of Men, Truly Valued, and Teen Court. Good stuff. So we're looking at prevention, intervention on the front side, especially with kids that we interact with that need help. So this is another program that we're doing. Kids and officers, this is Robert L. Taylor, rec center stuff. When kids are on spring break, winter break, summer break, we have events at Robert L. Taylor where cops can interact with kids, play sports, do things, and show them that we're just real people and we're humans outside of the uniform. Last time. Thank you very much. I tried to go back.
Thank you very much, John. So I think I have negative 30 seconds to get through our components, so bear with me. So Captain Ken Rainey, Professional Standards Division, as mentioned by the Deputy City Manager, that includes internal affairs, training, background recruiting, and accreditation. So all of those entities really are there to assist Captain Armstrong and the Patrol Division in the execution of their mission in some regard. So starting with internal affairs, 2023 was a unique year with respect to internal investigations. So there's a delicate balance between managing morale and expectations of professional conduct. So what we can say now, really from body-worn camera and a concerted effort from our office on preliminary investigations through extensive body-worn camera review, what we saw through that was this investigative inquiry number. So to give you a little background, formal investigations are those cases in which the most serious of discipline is at hand. Your pay and employment can be affected. So in 2023, there is a significant reduction in the classification of formal investigations. How do we get to a formal classification? Egregious violation or patterns of similar misconduct. So 75% reduction from 2022 and 2023. Informal investigations is a lower level misconduct where an officer, it could be discourtesy, no pattern of misconduct, and some type of administrative sanction with respect to a letter of instruction and cautioning, coaching, something in that regard. Also a reduction in 2023 from 2022. Getting back to this investigative inquiry, that's where we really excelled this year. So we're still looking at an enormous amount of complaints. Anything that comes in any way, we'll take it from an anonymous source, a canary, a bar napkin, what have you, we're looking at it. So in 2023, with that concerted effort on body-worn camera review, and keep in mind, if we have multiple officers on scene, that could be hours of video review. But with that effort, what we saw is that overwhelmingly, the officers of the Sarasota Police Department are acting within the confines of appropriate behavior, policy, and statute. So it really is a testament, when you look at these numbers, to the fantastic work of all of our officers. So there's checks and balances for internal affairs also. So monthly, I go to the Police Complaints Committee, the City Commission chambers, and all of our closed investigations are reviewed by a panel, really to ensure that patterns and trends are being addressed appropriately internally. So I look at that also as the impact on the front end of our cases, knowing that an independent panel of citizens is going to be looking at our cases. We know the standards that we need to hit every time. So I really do value those conversations. I get a lot of insight from the police complaints committee at each meeting. So it's really my goal at each of those meetings is to get through all of our case presentations without any input because we're already meeting all of their expectations. We're not there yet though. The IA kiosk, that component is all about internal transparency. So historically, internal affairs is very tight-lipped about the facts of these investigations. So really to overcome that in conversations with Chief Trochet is that what would be a mechanism to ensure that the staff knows the facts of the case to overcome rumors and conjecture, false narratives, but also to communicate expected standards of performance to all of our members. So to that end, we installed an IA kiosk in a patrol briefing room so all of our members can look at closed internal investigations and review them at their own leisure. Training accomplishments, segueing over to training. So as Captain Armstrong mentioned, we did field a tremendous amount, a historic amount of officers in 2023. And each of those groups of officers that went out to the street have to go through a 10-week-long agency-specific training. It's an incredible difference in the amount of curriculum that we have to put on our officers prior to even getting in a patrol vehicle. If you go back in time, I think my agency-specific training or city school at the time was 2 weeks. If you go back to Captain Armstrong and Chief Trochet, it was maybe a week or several days prior to, hey, just get in the car, enforce laws, apprehend criminals, I believe is the comment. So really the fact of the matter is the expectation of a police officer in contemporary times is just so great. It's not just detecting crime, it's all of those other things that a police officer is expected to do, and really in a split second. So moving on to the next point, we are always looking for the latest and greatest training curriculums to give to our officers to ensure that the community is best served. To that end, and this was a several-year-long project, I partnered with Georgetown Law for the active bystandership for law enforcement program. So what this is all about stopping misconduct in its most nascent stages. So police organizations are inherently hierarchical. So a perfect example of that is the events in Minneapolis. 19-year police officer, recruit officer just out of field training. It's difficult in an organization when you're the most junior person to speak up when misconduct is occurring in real time. So this program is all about empowering our officers to be able to speak up when misconduct is occurring. And to take this a step further, the application process, we really had to show a genuine involvement with our community, and that was evidenced by letters written by our stakeholders. I'm very proud to say that the Sarasota chapter of the NAACP endorsed us in our endeavors to partner with Georgetown, as well as Light of the World Church. It really could not have happened had we not invested so heavily in community relationships. So right now, where we're at in 2023 going into 2024, in 2023, all of our sworn population has been trained in ABLE, and in 2024, actually by the end of June, all of our civilian staff are going to be trained in ABLE as well. So we're going to be 100% trained ABLE organization, one of 6 in the state of Florida. Moving on to peer support. So, and peer support and ABLE work together, so it's not just misconduct, it's, hey, I was in briefing, so-and-so is exhibiting some type of behavior that was concerning, also empowering our folks to speak up for those officers, all contributing to the morale and the culture within the agency. But we reestablished the peer support team, so frontline folks that are interacting with officers every day, they can recognize when things go awry, and they're also there if somebody just wants to go speak to them in confidentiality. To further that, we invested in a software platform called Powerline, to where they can do it entirely confidentially from their phone. And I use the example, it's challenging to be the captain of internal affairs. There's very few people I can talk to about the rigors of my job. On this Powerline app, I can get on a national-based platform and partner with somebody who has very similar responsibilities to mine, so there can be some form of peer support on a larger scale.
How close are we?
What's that?
Wrapping it up.
Just about done.
All right.
So, force. So the officers of the Sarasota Police Department, I'm very proud to say this, so in 2023, we used force 13.2% less than the previous year, but our arrest encounters rose nearly 15% in 2023. So you think about it, it's counterintuitive. Our officers are putting people in handcuffs more frequently, but with less need to use force to achieve their lawful objectives. It really speaks to the communication abilities of our officers and the professionalism of our officers in their duties. So again, last slide. I am 5 minutes, I think, over. The training that we use to accomplish that, we have a concerted effort on not only communication, which is evidenced through crisis intervention training, mental health first aid, and the ABLE program, all about de-escalation, recognizing that critical intersection of mental health concerns and criminal behavior. Right now, the patrol division, if you're to interact with an officer on the street, there's a 99-point-something% chance that you're going to interact with an officer that is CIT trained. 100% chance that they've received mental health first aid, and 100% chance that they have the ABLE training. Also, sometimes we do have to use force, and in order to overcome resistance to achieve lawful objectives, we need our folks to be competent with regard to defensive tactics. We've invested in Gracie survival tactics, so it's all about controlling, not hitting. And also, we have the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu program that's funded by the Sarasota Police Foundation. Voluntary training, at the time that I generated this PowerPoint, we were at 2,000 supplemental hours of Jiu-Jitsu training for our officers, which really is incredible when you think about that's voluntary supplemental training. So contributing to officer confidence, which really contributes to more likelihood of a combative suspect to acquiesce to our lawful demands. So I think that was the last one, and I am 10 minutes over. So.
That's all right.
Thanks, Kenny. So, with all that being said, real quick, with all that being said, we still put people in jail, right? Like, we do all this in the community, and you see how deep we get, and we're still putting people in jail, and we're not done. There's something it's a new term that's going to be coming out. We've coined it. It's called inside-out policing. Anybody who has a business in here knows that you have to build a strong infrastructure in order to be successful. You also have to treat your people the right way on the inside, and then they will treat people on the outside the right way. So that's really our philosophy as we move forward. And we're currently working on new technology, and it's going to blow your mind, where we can stop crime in real time. So we're working very diligent on that. That's going to be a game changer for us, and hopefully that will reduce the numbers even further. Thank you for the time. Thank you for the support from the commissioners and our city manager, deputy city manager, our mayor, vice mayor. Thank you. We can't do this without your support. Thank you.
All right. Question? Yes, please. Eileen has a question.
Thank you, first of all, for everything the police do. I do have a question. It may be a statistical one. Do you keep track? The police do tremendous work, but you want to see it bear fruit. Do you keep track of convictions and plea deals versus dismissals? And the reason I ask that is, as a former prosecutor, you depend upon the police reports. You depend upon the police testimony. You depend upon good searches. Do you keep track of the fact that sometimes things fall through the cracks, and so the conviction is lost and the bad guys get off? So how do you correct for that?
Yeah, so we keep track of convictions. Obviously, plea deals on our end will look like a conviction. So I mean, we don't have an internal, we don't go into the metadata on that. I'm glad you just spoke up. You're going to get my card. One of the things that we're very big on is a new program called Court Watch. And so what we want to do is start bringing in volunteers to go into these first appearances before the judges, to go into these court sessions while judges are having trial, and then give real-time updates on social media, which is something we didn't have a long time ago, so that we understand, are the judges really holding people accountable? And our court watch would be sitting in there with specific shirts. The judges will know who court watch is, and those notes will be taken, and that information will put out in real time. So I think that would be powerful. I think you'd be a great volunteer if you have the time, or at least maybe we can, you know, I'm all about solutions, right? I am. I'm a solution-oriented person. You would come to the table, hey, let's come with a solution to it. I think God sent you here to ask that question, so I feel like we're going to be really good friends. Yeah, great question.
That's Eileen Normal.
Hi, I'm Marissa Dawson. I'm from Central Coconut. First of all, I'd like to say your Marine unit came and spoke to us at the Sarasota Sailing and Power Squadron. Amazing, amazing team. Hot team is wonderful. They were here a few meetings ago. My son went through the teen court program when he got caught shoplifting at Walmart with $15 in his pocket that he could have paid for the item. So that was wonderful as well. It helped protect my son from having a criminal record and really helped straighten him out. Having said all that, I do have 3 questions. Number 1, how many openings are still there? Number 2, what's the starting salary? And number 3, what are we doing about housing for the police force?
I offer housing at my house all the time. Yes. So let's go. Number 1, we are almost there. We are budgeted for 190 officers. We're currently 187. I think in the next month or 2, we will be fully staffed in 190. But here's my challenge, right, all the time. We have a very high bar at Sarasota Police Department. That's one thing I refuse to compromise. I don't care who it is. If they're not meeting our bar in probation, we are going to let them go. Now, don't get me wrong. We give them plenty of times training. The training unit will come to me. I'm like, hey, let's try something different. Maybe they learn differently. So we really do give people a lot of bites at the apple. But one thing we will not do is go below the bar. So my finish line keeps getting moved and moved and moved, with people retiring out of the blue, et cetera. But hopefully in the next 2 months, we'll be fully staffed at 190. Number 2, I believe the starting salary is just over $63,000. And number 3, housing. Our recruiters are really good people, and actually our recruiters give people coming in a lot of guidance as far as where to live and whatnot and costs. But we currently don't have any in-house housing. I know the city is currently working on a project though to mitigate that.
Could I interject on the housing, if I might? This is Gillespie Park. We now have 1 officer living in our neighborhood again, super great, and another one considering moving into our neighborhood. And the way we accomplished it is a couple of individuals that had their rentals turned to Airbnbs, turned them back to long-term rentals, specifically to rent to police officers. So get the word out in your neighborhood, maybe we can get some more of that done.
Rob has a question.
Rob Grant, Arlington Park. Chief, I grew up with a police officer. My dad's retired military. In fact, he still puts a uniform on in Hillsborough County and works. So I know the lifestyle that you guys live, intimately familiar with, the challenges of being a police officer. You guys are doing a great job, obviously. I don't have to tell you that. About a year and a half ago, Mr. Costa brought to you guys a neighborhood speeding enforcement program. Seemed like the resources weren't available at the time. Seems like you guys are headed in the right direction. Maybe we could revisit that. Maybe that's not the program that we need, but speeding enforcement in the neighborhoods is a big deal. I've heard, the pushback that sometimes it's a perception issue. I don't accept that. Safety is safety. 25 miles an hour on one street might be safe, but 15 miles an hour on another street might be safe. They're not the same. And I've got buses going down streets in my neighborhood daily. There's no sidewalk. There's a 14,000-pound bus. If it's going 25 miles an hour, I don't think that's safe. So anyway, my point is, and I think everybody here, we really would appreciate a neighborhood speeding enforcement program, and then maybe we could couple that with addressing speed limits in the neighborhoods, and maybe even a citywide proactive speeding enforcement program. Instead of just being responsive, try and do something. Port St. Lucie is a great example for that. So I appreciate your time. Thanks, gentlemen and ladies.
Thank you. If I could address that real quick. So with respect to speeding, I read a document the other day, I think it was from like 1930s, and it was a police department, Sarasota Police Department booklet, and you know what they complained about in the 1930s? Speeding. Guess what they complained about in the 40s? Speeding. 50s, speeding. 60s, speeding. The people speeding are in this room. I mean, and I've had those conversations with people that are sitting in this room, and they've said, I am the speeder. So a lot of it, this is not just a one fix, and I'm glad you brought it up. This is not a one fix. This is another community issue. Just like we just talked about housing, and someone said, hey, let's turn Airbnbs into housing for police officers. That's a community coming forward to make a change. And that's what needs to happen. The community needs to come forward and make a change. We need to get technology going. We need to use WhatsApp. I have WhatsApp in my neighborhood that I live in, and let me tell you, those people are not afraid to embarrass other neighbors on it. Hey, yellow car, tag 1, 2, 3, 4, speeding, doing 20 and a 15, and guess what? It's a trickle-down effect because it's embarrassing. Nobody wants to be called out. That's use of easy technology that's free to everybody in this room to use, and that would help us out immensely. I can tell you right now, the police department is not going to solve speeding. That's a reality. I mean, we can increase visibility, but we cannot solve speeding. That's a community effort. Now, I can tell you that speed cameras are coming in school zones. So that's going to help me take...
Please expand on that.
So in school zones, the law is passed, now we can put speed cameras in school zones. So that will now keep us from having to put the traffic unit, especially the first 3 weeks of school, in those zones, because those speed cameras will now be sending tickets to people. That's going to help us out immensely. Now we can have the traffic unit in those neighborhoods with increased visibility. You know, Lou Costa just said the other day, simply by the motor units driving through Bird Key has decreased people from speeding. It's about visibility, but we only have so much bandwidth in the city, right? I don't have that many officers where I can have them in all these neighborhoods, because you still want them to go to, and respond to 911 calls, right? We still want them to look at crime and stop people and stop it before it occurs. So there's a balance. So I agree with you. Can we do a better job? Always. Do we need help from everybody in this room? 100%.
Could I add to that, please? We've been told that we should call out our neighbors that are speeding. When I walk my dog, I do it all the time. Slow down, and then I get this.
Yeah, that's not the call out that we're asking for, because that's what leads to that.
Yeah, and then so I don't call anyone out anymore.
That's not how you call them out. Use the app. Use the application. You do it in cyber world. That's how it's done.
Many people aren't on that app though.
But that's my point, is that people need to start talking about the app and getting on the app, and it probably takes 30 seconds to download the app. And it is powerful. I've seen it, and it works, and no one's given me the finger on the app.
You'll be back. We're going to talk about this.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right. Thank you, Ron.
Yeah,
Other question?
hi, thanks. Hi, Chief.
Sure.
Yeah, hi, Ron Cashton, Laurel Park. One of the things that people sometimes don't realize is that SPD is responding to an incident that's actually occurring on county land. You know, I bring up Ted Sperling Park is one example that there's constant activity. Another one is even Selby Library. So I know that some of your officers are deputized by the county to try and react to incidents, because you're always the first one on the spot. Is there any way that we can get more of the force so that you have the ability to engage?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. So the prior sheriff took that away for whatever reason, took all the deputization away from the officers. The new sheriff, Kurt Hoffman, decided to come back with it, however, in limited numbers, and I can understand that.
Hey Rex, just to jump in on
He's talking about county-owned land inside the city. Could you just touch on the MOU that was signed late last year? That gives
I'm gonna get there.
Yeah. The deputization issue has nothing to do within the city of Sarasota. It's only if they go outside the boundary of the city of Sarasota. So we entered into a mutual aid agreement with the county late last year. All of our officers have enforcement authority for county ordinances on county-owned land inside the city of Sarasota. The only time an officer would need to be deputized if they exited our fence, which is the boundary of the city of Sarasota. So Ted Sperling Park is not an issue as far as enforcement is a concern anymore. Yes. The same as what? Library, yes, correct. That's correct. Now, they still have a say in what happens there, but we're enumerated to take enforcement efforts on those properties. So that's a non-issue, and I think we passed that, what, Rex, December of last year?
Yeah.
Ish.
Six,
So
7
very
months
supportive
ago.
with the county, that it's just one of those things. So deputization is if our officers are outside the limits of the city of Sarasota, the inside, county-owned land inside the city is no longer a barrier to enforcement. Thank you.
And also note that when we're talking about deputization, it's not the patrol officers that you see driving around. The majority of them are not deputized because we only give them a certain number. The majority of our specialty units are deputized because they're going in and out of the county all the time. Bad guys and girls do not respect the county and city limits. So that's why we're able to do that. But we have a limited number on that.
All right.
Other questions?
Sorry, I can only ask questions here. Well, I'll get to you, Walter. All right. Okay, all right, well, thank you, guys.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Boy, they did well. They didn't take up the whole morning, but we are pushed for time now. That one's not working. I got it. This one. This one is. Okay. Officers' reports. Let's be brief, guys. I have. Where did my notes go? Here we go. This is mine. There's two things I wanted to report. Newtown Historic District is now reality. It has nothing to do with limiting property rights. Yeah, it's a good thing for the neighborhood. Demolition permits do have to go through the Historic Preservation Board. Okay. Point 2, in response to last month's presentation, I queried Lucia Panica about the new DRC process, and they are in the process of creating a stakeholders list to start public outreach. It's moving slower than anticipated, but will gain speed soon. I will be in touch. That was her response to me. Moving on. Do we have a?
Yeah, real quick. I'm doing a slight reorganization of the website. I'm trying to make it easier to find things. So just let you know that some things where you were looking for them are going to be in a different place. Hopefully you'll find them easier. Second thing, I'm going to be emailing all of the neighborhood leaders because we need some additional information or confirmation of information of your contact information. Specifically, who in your neighborhood, in addition to the president, should be getting something from the city when there's a development app or a workshop or something like that. The city's got it set up so that 2 people in each neighborhood can get it. We just want to make sure that they have the right information. So I will be reaching out by email to everybody to try to get that information.
All right, Joanne, do you have anything to report? Hang on, let me try and get the sound over to you. No, not yet. There we go.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I don't have anything to report.
Yeah. Love it. Treasurer's report, please.
Good morning, everyone. Our beginning balance on as of 4/11 was $7,293.09. We had expenditures of $347.99, and we have now the ending balance as of 5/1 of $6,945.10.
Excellent. Okay. How about we do approval of the minutes? Is there a motion to approve the minutes from April?
So moved.
All right. Joanne moves. Who second? Valerie. I'm having a terrible time with names. Valerie. Seconds. Is there any other discussion? Everybody say aye. Aye. Motion, minutes are approved. Thank you. Yes. District reps. Let's start with District 1. Push hard.
Just really briefly, District 1 was going to be working together on a candidate forum for the fall as we move into the election season. Look for more info.
All right. District 2.
I have no report for District 2, but if any of you guys in District 2 want to come talk to me or have me attend one of your meetings, just let me know.
And her information is on the whoops.
It's on
Do
the
they
website.
have, yes, yes. Oh, and District 3.
Hi, Flo Entler, District 3, Arlington Park neighborhood. I don't want to take away Rob Grant's report, but I do want to thank Mark Smith and Esther for coming to our potluck picnic last weekend. And Esther's rice is delicious as always, and her face painting makes not only the children happy, but the adults too this year. So thank you. And District 3, well, I should say District 3, we're 3 at District 3 and 2 in my neighborhood, and we are working on a candidates forum as well for September. So thank you.
Excellent. Okay. Moving on to discussion about the strategic initiative. I want to mention that I have contacted several people about things they've volunteered for. Thank you. And we need to get these things, get these committees going so that we actually get something out of that strategic initiative that we had a lot of fun at last September, October. And I want to mention also what Jim said is that we need each neighborhood to identify one person who is going to receive information about developments in their community, in their neighborhood. That doesn't, it can be the delegate and the president, whatever, just a person. And we want, and we're going to, I'm gonna let Jim talk more about that in a second here. We do have, Rob, we have, and we're trying to, with Norm's committee, that Carl, Joanne, and I'm on, and where'd he go?
He's here, I'm hiding.
There he is, right there. And Lou is on. That we've been talking a lot about the warrant, but we need to expand it, and we intend to. And to your point, most of the volunteers were about neighborhood safety, by and large. It might be a perceived issue, but everybody perceives it. So, moving that, I'm going to hand this over to Jim to talk about meaningful input. If you have, can you say a few words? You want to? You don't want to? No.
Let's give,
Yeah. Okay.
let's give these people
Yeah.
enough time.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I wanted to say about strategic initiatives. I have instructed the board to start the ball rolling, so they're going to be reaching out to you. Okay. So let's move right on to. I don't think there's any old business. Is there any new business, ma'am?
I would. Marissa Dawson, Central Coconut. The city did a great presentation last meeting about attainable housing, but I would like the CCNA to look into that and maybe have a vote whether to support it or not. I do, and our organization does have some questions.
That's a formal request. Okay, then I need to take that up, and we will go start the process. All right. Then neighborhood reports. So where do we start this year? Let's start right this way. Oh, that one isn't working. There we go. All right. Remember, 2 minutes. 2 minutes, folks. And we're pretty good on time. It's 10:07 right now. So I think might even get out of Dodge early today.
Okay.
Go.
Kelly Brown, Gillespie Park. Just a couple things. Thank you to the city, Pat Robinson and team, for your quick response to all the asks we had last month. Very well done. Did we get everything we wanted? Of course not, but we got a lot, so thank you.
Pat, come on up here.
City master plan, city park master plan, the Parks Department was our guest speaker at our meeting this last week. And the Gillespie Park will be, in 2025, community outreach will begin for the master plan update to Gillespie Park. And Gillespie Park is a community park. There are people sitting in this room that come from all over the neighborhoods to play tennis, play pickleball, go to the dog park. So when that survey information starts to come out, make sure your voice is heard for what you think would really help improve that park. And then lastly, we are having a paint a paver in the park day, May 11th. So if you're an artsy, fartsy kind of person, come on over and feel free to put your art to work in a paver in our butterfly garden. That would be May 11th at 8 a.m. Thank you.
Is this working?
There you go.
Hi, I'm
Closer.
Claudia with Bayou Oaks Neighborhood Association, and our president, Richard, helped me put this together because I'm new at all of this, but I'm really loving my position. Our neighborhood association had a public works meeting at Northwater Tower Park on Monday morning, this past Monday morning. And Public Works took care of a pedestrian hazard there. And we're gonna have a workshop with them to talk about what we want in the park, like sidewalks and other amenities. We did report a safety issues at the intersection of 42nd and Royal Palm that will be addressed later. The next thing is we put 5 trees in the park for Arbor Day that has a self-watering system. And that's it.
I'm Scott Ashby from Leader Key Residents Association. I'm just temporarily filling in for Jesse Haar, who's out of the country. I wanted to bring up we didn't mention it last time, but we had a whale of a party on the beach last week, and we didn't mention it. I mean, Dennis knows about it. He was everywhere at that party. So on the beach behind the sand castle, and 130, 100 some people. It was great. And part of it's because we raised a fair amount of money for beach renourishment. $700,000 we paid attorneys to try to protect the city's beach. And we have some of that money, and we're hoping to start a scholarship in perpetuity that respects the environment and that sort of thing. And that's part of what we're doing. From a community point of view, we had all the situation on Polk Drive as far as no parking signs and some things like that. And actually I've been getting some action on that, pretty much a testament to what this is all about. And then the final thing is, you've already heard several people mention the park at South Lido. What's the name of it? Not Ken Thompson. Ted Sperling Park, South Lido. And at our meeting last time, we must have had half the police force there, and they were great. And the Marine guys, some mentioned the Marine guys, they were fantastic. And so,
2 minutes, Scott.
A lot of action there. Thank you.
Good morning. At the towers, the county towers, residents had a wonderful Easter dinner. They served about 100 people and their families. So it was really well. It was very well attended. The decorations were really nice. And I have a card for Miss Nancy along with her report. I don't have it with me today though. I wanna say that, I'm planning on being at that meeting at the, City Hall, to talk about, Bertha Mitchell, you know, as it come up. And, next, on the 18th, we are having a gathering, with residents, and we're gonna partner with, the college, so we can get, residents, rallied, so we can start, doing some things and coming together, because we gotta fight this. And because Newtown is a historic designation, now we're going to see how we can use that designation to stop them from building anything else that we don't want in our community. Thank you.
Just Valerie and Lucy, I'm glad Lucy and Steve are here, but the Bertha Mitchell changes to the zoning text have been voluntarily withdrawn by the housing authority, so that's not even on the table anymore. So if you go down to talk about Bertha Mitchell, there's really not gonna be any conversation outside of, oh, I'm sorry, Marlon, give me the.
It's still on the agenda, thanks to Commissioner Batty working with William Russell. William Russell is gonna request at the city commission meeting that it be withdrawn.
Correct.
It's gonna be withdrawn.
So you can come and watch, but if you're coming out to ask for anything, I think that's already been handled by the commissioner. So thank you, Ms. Brown, appreciate it. I couldn't tell, I thought you were giving me the finger back there for a second. I probably deserved it, so. All right, moving on. Go ahead, Mr. Grant.
Hello, Rob Grant, Arlington Park. Like Flo said, we had our potluck picnic last Saturday. We had about 50 people there. Mark Smith and his wife were there. There was some, actually folks from the other neighborhoods. I think Ron was there. It was a great time. We had a great time. We cooked hot dogs. The board cooked hot dogs for everybody. It was a nice couple hours of just hanging out. So Diane Kennedy made an appearance at our last meeting and did her code compliance presentation, which I think was very appreciative for all the neighbors. We recently learned that the city is getting ready, working on extension of the School Avenue MIRT. Not sure if any of you are familiar with this. It's south of Weber. It's where School Avenue would be if it extended. So we'll look into that. There's been some concerns about that in the past by neighbors because it was extending far up into our neighborhood. And we'll see how that progresses, but we'll be keeping an eye on that. Pat, a month later, we have half a sidewalk in the 2400 block of Floyd Street. We want to get the other half as soon as we can.
Yes, sir. I was actually out there. I drove by there the other day to see what the status was, so I'll follow up again.
They're moving really slow.
Yeah, it's like 4 houses there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So it's moving, but very slowly.
Understood.
Buses.
We're working on it.
Any information you can tell me, because they're continuing to just drive on any of the streets. I was on Jefferson the other morning. I mean, as the van went by, I put my hand on it. That's how close it was to me. They don't move over. And 15 minutes walking around the block the other day, 4 buses went by me.
Yeah. So I know. I give credit. I'm not sure who it. I think it was Nancy that we were going back and forth with about possibly working on some parking lot issues at the new development or the new apartments where they're picking people up from. But we have had conversations with Dolphin, and they've assured us that they're trying to cut back on. Was that for me? Sorry, yeah. Rob. I'd answer more. Sorry, but we are working on it, Rob. One thing to understand is, although I can ask them to voluntarily move their routes, it is a public street, right. So as long as they're not committing any violations, so trying to get voluntary acquiescence and working through some zoning issues with the parking garage.
That was my question. Was really I was going to bring this to you, Lucia. Was are they zoned? Are they really allowed to be doing that there? It's like residential multifamily property. So yeah, that was my.
So I know Nancy and I had a conversation about this week, so we're following up on that. So we'll circle back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Richard Barlotto, Indian Beach, Sapphire Shores, alternate to Kevin. And one of my neighbors stopped me today and asked me to bring up a traffic issue, which is on University entrance onto University going past 41, going up University right by the museum. There are 3 lanes going onto that into 41, one left, one right, and one straight ahead. And he's interested in having that right lane also become a straight lane at the same time. Go straight onto University rather than, because you don't make the light. Most people just never make the light because they get to stop.
Which direction are we going on?
We're going east.
East. I'll take a look at it, but understand anything that we would do with a state roadway would
That has to
run
be,
through
yeah, right.
DOT. And I can tell you that those traffic patterns have been there probably since I was
Sure.
6 years old, so I'm not sure FDOT is gonna be overly inclined to change those, but I'll have Nick reach out and see if they can just look at the actual lanes there. So
Okay.
we'll circle back on that.
That was it. Thank you.
Barbara Beard, San Remo. We have a new board and a new president. Our last couple of years have been an upheaval, but now we're back on track. And he has met with probably every person in the city in the last, including the mayor. And we're doing a lot of good things that needed to be done. So thank you to everybody.
That was quick. Good morning, everyone. Mary Butler here with Amarillo's Park Neighborhood Association. It's been a wonderful month. April was just outstanding for Newtown. As you heard earlier, Valerie announced that Newtown has been listed on the Register of Historic Places. So we are officially Newtown Historic District. Wonderful, wonderful news. Over 700 structures, buildings were identified. Just awesome. Just awesome to know that our history, our heritage, and our culture is worth preserving. So I want to thank the city. All of the people over there, Steve, I see you, that have been working on this project, and the reports that came out, they've been doing this since 2009, holding meetings, putting together task force, putting together surveys. I got a chance to reach out to Miss Barbara, our past president, Miss Mary Mack, our past president, and all they could do was just scream and say, "Oh my God, thank you, Mary, thank you." So it is just truly a blessing, and we just want to thank all of those that helped participate. Moving on, May is Hurricane Preparedness Month, and so we're getting prepared. Amarillo's Park and the Sarasota County Emergency Management, we're hosting a seminar at our next Amarillo's Park meeting, which is going to be May the 21st. I'll send out the flyer. Well, please do come and join us as we prepare for hurricane season. And last, there's an exhibit going on. It's around the civil rights movement. And just to let you know, the civil rights movement turns 60 years old this year, 1964 to 2024. So very interesting, but there's an exhibit, and it's about Sarasota, Tampa, and St. Pete civil rights movement, and it's going to be at the Leonard Reed House. It's from April 25th to May 18th. I'll send something out. Thanks, Richard.
Hi, Randy Winters, Berkey. We don't have anything new this week. Just a reminder, Pat, upgrade lights on Berkey.
It'll be slow and steady, I promise you that.
I thought so.
Hi, Ron Cashton, Laurel Park. A couple things. One, we had our picnic in the park. Thank you, Nancy Kelly, for helping that, and thank you for the city for the grant. That was critical. We couldn't have done it. Something related to comments regarding hurricane preparedness. There is a local organization it's actually nationwide, but it's based in Sarasota, and I'll send it to the board at CCNA. And what they do is they organize local resources whenever there's a storm or a natural disaster. It seems like a wonderful organization. I met the chairman, and again, it's based in Sarasota. So I'll send out the information. Anybody that wants it, just contact me or contact the board. One last bit. Pat, I know you hear about speeding all the time. I just want to give you a little sensitivity about South Osprey. And we've noticed an uptick in speeding with that, and it might be related to the new roundabout that they're building on Ringling and Pine. Because even though that the detour is going on Main Street, there's still a left turn lane, and I wonder if people are seeing that sign, getting confused, and then whipping through Osprey to try and get to Mound. So, if you could look in that.
Absolutely, Ron. We'll take a look at that. And for those of you that don't know, we're in the middle of reconfiguring a traffic site just outside the Ringling, between the county building and the post office, right there. For those of you that don't know where Pine Place is on Ringling, there's a roundabout that was designed and implemented going back to pre-COVID days that they just got the funding for, and they're working through that now. So there are some detours, so we'll absolutely have traffic look into that. And just to back up and move forward again, I'm sorry, this thing has run out of batteries.
Wrap it up, Pat.
That speed camera program, and Rex didn't really touch on it, but a great issue for that is. A great issue for that is.
I told you, wrap it up.
No, it's important. Is we won't have to put the officers out there in school zones anymore. But I will tell you that for the test period that we put those out on the street, it was 5 days only while the light was flashing. And I'll tell you about one school on Fruitville Road. It was 17,000 tickets were 11 miles over the speed limit. So just be careful when these things go in. Anything over 11 miles an hour in a school zone will be ticketed at $100 per ticket. So, and then if you don't pay it, it goes to an actual UTC as defined by state statute. So what we're going to be doing is taking those officers that normally would be on those school zones and putting them back in the neighborhood. So Rex didn't really touch on that, but that's really the positive for us on that thing. So thank you for bringing that up, Ron. That is correct. But Sarasota High, South Side, Tuttle Elementary, we're
So
looking at
you're
all
gonna put them on the big roads, maybe to start.
Correct. But that, we can reassign those traffic units to the neighborhoods then, so that's the goal.
Joanne. Eileen. Try again, thank you.
And I was sent by God, I understand.
You were. You better listen.
Eileen Normile from Hudson Bayou. The board has asked me to inform everyone that they recently voted unanimously on a motion to oppose further building or expansion of parking in Payne Park. So that was something that they wanted to pass on, I'm sure with the intention of asking anyone else here who would like to be with their board and discuss that. They also asked me to ask the board of CCNA when you plan to do a candidate forum. So that would be a question I'm sure is on everyone's mind. And finally, the effort to improve code enforcement continues. That's an effort to bring citizen evidence into, citizen proofs into evidence at magistrate hearings. We are working on that. I'm working on it with John Shamsi, and we will have another meeting on that on June 6th. And we'll let you know when you come back in September what actually happens. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Leslie Spangler. There's no update from all of you. No update.
A little closer.
No update. There you go. No update from Alta Vista.
Marilyn Dolomake from alternate from Harbor Acres. I have no report.
Ricky Lindsay, Bay Point Park Neighborhood Association, a shout out and a thank you to the city and to Nancy Kelly as always for the grant and the use of the tables and chairs for our neighborhood picnic. We had about 50 people attend, and Mayor Albert joined us this time, so thank you. Secondly, we're working with Nancy and the city, hopefully for a tree or two in our neighborhood city-owned lot to give us shade and protection from traffic. Number 3, thank you to the police department. Just want to point out that in neighborhoods like ours that are undergoing a lot of renovation and construction, there's construction traffic can often provide a lot of distraction for bad
actors, and I experienced it myself, daytime, midday, daytime, weekday burglary at my house. And there was just so much traffic, construction traffic and whatnot on the street that it was kind of hard to identify who the bad actor was, but the police response was terrific. And we appreciate that, but be aware, it doesn't matter that it's the middle of the day or a weekday, it happens. That's all, thank you.
Dennis Bischoff, Lido Shores. First, I want to thank CCNA and all the neighborhoods for supporting the stoppage of the commercialization of Ken Thompson Park. So far, it's been tabled. Hopefully, it will continue that way. If it pops up, we're going to go after him again. So, second, I want to get a little credit for the crime stat reduction because I did the police academy in 2023. But first, I want, if it comes up again, if you have an opportunity to do it, it's incredible. You can meet wonderful, wonderful people. That's really cool. Number 3, there's, the board has asked me to ask Pat if we could get a possibility of getting a stop sign at Westway Place and Westway Drive. We've had accidents between vehicles, bicyclists, and walkers. It's just a small little area, but because of all the construction vehicles and everything, people don't look and they just pull out. A stop sign might help. So
That's Westway Place.
Westway Place and Westway Drive. And fourth, the Lido Beach party was awesome, and Liz and Jen can really dance. Okay? That's all I got.
I missed that party. Joyce Fitzpatrick, Plymouth Harbor. We just had a grand opening of our renovated peninsula. We took down all the Australian pines and put up native plants. This was a resident supported, promoted, and paid for project, and we had speakers and music. This was just several weeks ago. So that was a biggie with us. We've had a wonderful ranked choice voting presentation several weeks ago in our auditorium, and we're looking forward to an election voting presentation also in the coming weeks. We would like to be part of somehow streaming or getting a recording of a candidate forum. I know we had a wonderful one here several years ago, and I'm hoping, I don't know if it could be recorded or not, but we would like to have that for our community in the auditorium. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Good morning, Suzanne Waxman from Tolles Court. First of all, I would like to address Mary Butler and say I really do appreciate your enthusiasm and the way you talk about your community. I really enjoy hearing you talk. As far as Tolles Court goes, we have the same thing going on about commercial construction going on Adams Lane in Washington. And I think everybody has their eyes on that as well as to what's going to go on. Traffic, of course, is an issue with us as it is for everybody. But basically, we're doing pretty well.
Hi, Beth Notestein reporting for Golden Gate Point. I would say as well, construction on Golden Gate Point. We currently have 6 10-story condominiums that are under construction, and there are 2 new pieces of property that we've been told, small homes that have been sold, that will obviously go under construction. I think they're big enough. There'll be 2 more 10-story buildings. So I think we'll be looking at probably a 5-year build out of Golden Gate Point, and we're in constant contact with the city regarding issues.
I get that.
Yes, but thank you. We realize we live in a beautiful area, and it's where people want to build. So the one thing I did want to report is that we're continuing to get complaints regarding derelict boats that are illegally moored. It's right outside Hart's Landing. There's 2 there right now. I also understand it's on the water. There are complexities with that in that the boats are on the water, they're not on land, but with hurricane season approaching, what happens is the derelict boats break away because the mooring balls aren't legal. Last year, we had 2 boats crash into docks and do about $120,000 worth of damage. There are 2 out there today, and I'll just leave it at that. I realize it's a difficult issue for you all to manage. Thank you.
So I will absolutely have the Marine unit check those out, just to give you guys an idea about what our Marine unit does with those. So in the entire state of Florida, it's a big state, right? It takes, 10 hours to drive from the top to the bottom? Those 2 officers are responsible for 10% of the overall derelict vessel removal, so we're very aggressive with that. We have other major municipalities coming to see how we do it with 2 people, but I will absolutely turn them loose on those in that Golden Gate Basin over there to take a look at it. So we'll see what we can do. And again, hurricane season coming up, very important. So thank you.
Good morning, Melissa Laughlin with Rosemary District. I also wanted to start recognizing the Newtown District. What an achievement to get the historic designation. And that's not just good for the neighborhood, that's good for all of us and the competitive advantage of our city, so thank you. One thing for our neighborhood, the park construction is underway, thank you. Everybody's talking about it in our neighborhood, so keep your eyes on it if you can, and we're looking forward to planning the ribbon cutting.
Trees went in, or 3 of the trees went in.
3 of the trees went in.
Friday, so starting to look like an actual park. Giving Commissioner Trice some credit because she comes and hollers at me every time she walks by there and says, "What's going on? What's going on?" And then I call Jerry Fogle and go, "What's going on? What's going on?" So we are very cognizant that has taken a little bit longer, or a lot longer than we had planned. So we are absolutely aggressively working to bringing that to the community because we're very proud of what that's going to be. And I met with Jerry out on site, and the thing is actually looking like a park now, which I'm really excited about. So, David, you better say good things. That's all I'm gonna say. Now would be good, Dave.
Okay. David Lowe with DISCA. We had a board meeting this past Wednesday, and I think we had a thank you, Mayor and Vice Mayor, for attending. I think we had a record 60 attendees. A.G. Lafley was our guest speaker and talked about the amazing next phase of the Bay Park. And Pat, our guest speaker next month is somebody you might know. Emily Walsh from The Observer is going to be our guest speaker in June, so we're looking forward to talking about it.
Can I come and ask questions?
Yeah, you sure can. The second thing is, and a shout out to Marlon and Kelly Strickland. For those of you who don't know, on Tuesday the 7th, there is a budget town hall where Kelly is going to talk about the budget process. Public comment will be allowed, so if you have any ideas on the budget for next year, maybe that would be an appropriate time for your neighborhood to be represented. I'll be making some comments. And then the final thing is our Arts and Cultural Committee of DISCA met and wanted to express their enthusiasm about hearing about the Performing Arts Center and the selection of the one architect and seeing that project move along in parallel with the Purple Ribbon Committee discussing the repurposing of Van Nuys. But we're really pleased to see the Performing Arts Center getting some traction, we hope, and let's just get on with it. So that's all I got.
Hi, Miles Tobin with South Point City Park. Thank you to the police department for those excellent information. We really appreciate it. And Pat, I'm hoping that we can get something from you on the speed cameras, since we have a lot of schools in our area, and I'd like to send something out to those folks saying, okay, just because the motorcycles aren't there doesn't mean that you're not being watched. As far as, we still have the same initiatives that I mentioned at other meetings. We're working with the city and FPL on lighting. We've got woefully inadequate lighting on all of our streets and a lot of streets without sidewalks. That needs to be addressed, and we're hoping to see that addressed. Traffic calming, we're also working with the city and a lot of good dialogue. And finally, street repaving. We have 2 streets which are on the list for repaving in 2024 on any budgeting for those two streets, so hopefully that will come quickly. A lot of unhappy folks that it hasn't been budgeted. I will also add, Pat, a street that hasn't been on my radar until about 2 or 3 days ago is Hibiscus, which apparently is developing a lot of sinkholes due to some of the sewer issues, so that's not a street I've mentioned to you before, but maybe the city can look at that more quickly. Final issue, I will say this quickly, the city, as you know, is doing a lot of rezoning for attainable housing and additional residential stories on Tamiami. I recently saw the traffic report from Benderson for refurbishment of the former Southgate Mall, and not surprisingly, I'll make this really quick. Not surprisingly, the number of cars, even though it's over 100,000 per year, Benderson is saying, oh, there's no impact. I think the planning department and the city needs to focus. We're happy to see Benderson refurbish Southgate Mall, but there are ancillary impacts, and I'm not sure those traffic reports are being adequately addressing those ancillary impacts. Last word is we have our spring social coming up on May 8th. I'm proud to say that we have 150 RSVPs. Mayor Albert and Ron Cashin will be there, and we look forward to seeing them. That should be a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll have enough room for everybody, but that's fine. It should be fun.
Good morning, Jerry Fagan from Glen Oaks Ridge, and Pat, I want to thank the city for the new crosswalks and signage across Circus. I'm just wondering if one of them will be placed from in front of Glen Oaks, right across the street from Bobby Jones. The other three are down the street, but the one that we've been talking about is directly from Glen Oaks to, across the street, and there's nothing there. So you can't miss it. They're really nice. The signage, the crosswalks are nice and fresh, but there's nothing, and that's what we wanted. There's 2,000 people across the street from Bobby Jones, and there's no crosswalk.
We just want to make sure you get your steps in.
And that's it.
We'll
Thank you.
look into it. We'll look into it.
Hi, Chris Galea, St. Armand's. We've made it through the worst of the high season traffic. If you haven't been out to St. Armand's Circle or Lido Beach in a while, you should find it's much easier to get to and easier to find a parking spot. So come out, walk around. We've got an art festival this weekend, 10 to 4 every day. Fun thing to do this weekend. And other than that, residents are relieved that we don't have to worry about an amusement park at nearby Kent Township Park. But thanks goes to Dennis Bischoff and the Lido Shores folks for really doing the heavy lifting on that. So everything's great. Come out and see us, and everybody have a fantastic summer.
Hi, Andres Bonet from Park East. I am still relatively new here. This is my second official meeting. The first one I showed up to was a party, so that was fun. The Christmas one. But I just wanted some clarification because I heard you guys mention about, I don't know if it was two different or the same, where you wanted to have clarification on who on each like neighborhood association is gonna get information about when there's development, or was there two different things? Was it one? I just wanted to be clear on that.
Same thing. It's the same thing, but I will get an email out to you and explain it in there exactly what it is that we want and how you can, put that in to the city information.
Okay, because I was just wanting out of clarification.
When there's a community workshop, for example.
Yeah.
Okay. People within 500 feet of a development get noticed. Neighborhood president gets noticed, and a second person in that neighborhood can be noticed. We just have to make sure the city knows who that second person is.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Could I interject
one moment on that? Just so everyone knows, you can go to the city's website and you can sign up to receive everything that goes on at the city. You get the workshops, the planning board, the commission meetings, anything that goes on. The city's website, there's a lot of information, and you can just sign up and you will receive emails for everything that goes on. So I just wanted to let everyone know that maybe did not know that's out there.
So you know what, Flo, that is a great point, and I will ask our folks to send Richard the actual link to the sign up thing. Just, I'm gonna warn you, I went out and did that just to see what it was, and I thought I got a lot of emails before. So you get a lot of emails if you sign up to all. I think there's about 20. Yes, yes. Just like I said, be careful what you wish for.
All right, thank you.
Marissa Dawson with Central Coconut. We had our largest meeting ever on April 18th. We approved our new bylaws, which brought us from 7 pages of bylaws down to 3, so that was pretty wonderful. All the usual suspects were there. Officer Matt was there, Charlie Nagelschmidt from Broadway Promenade, Kelly Brown, who is Gillespie Park and District 1 rep. We had Mayor Liz Albert there. We had Mark and Esther Smith. Thank you, as always, for coming. Nancy Kelly was there, and Kyle Petit. So we had over 30 people, which is a large meeting for us. We are still working on the air quality regarding U.S. recycling, which is part of the CCNA strategic initiative. So that does mesh very well with our neighborhood, because our neighborhood has the U.S. recycling in it. We would definitely like to recognize Marlon and his attainable housing plan. We did have some significant questions about it, but we really like that the city is now addressing attainable housing. Although since police officers are starting at 63,000, there would be no housing for them starting at 80% AMI, so that would be an issue for us. There is a lot going on in construction with us. The huge lot down at 10th and Coconut. Also, 4 houses are being built at 19th and Central. We would like to find out a way with the city. Some of us did go down to 10th and Coconut and rescue some native plants before a lot of the oak trees and other things were taken down. We got cuttings of the old mulberry tree. For those of you who don't know, there was a humongous mulberry tree there with fabulous mulberries that we used to pick every year. I actually got 3 of them to root, so that tree is now growing in my front yard. Also resurrection ferns. Thank you very much.
Melinda Dalpesh with Tahiti Park, and I have no report.
Okay, thank you, everybody. The candidate forum, we're trying to get the districts to do the candidate forums this year, since it's a district election. I think that's the only thing. We need to recognize, oh yes, remember, if you want your report in the minutes, you have to send it in an email to, you send it to me, president@sarasotaccna.org. I'll make sure it gets forwarded to the right place. Lucia, raise your hand. Came in late. Thank you kindly for coming. Nancy Kelly is our favorite, one of our favorite city persons. The other one, of course, is sitting next to me.
No, Nancy's way better than me. And she made it in. So I told them why you were going to be late today, or that you weren't going to come. I'm shocked that you made it. How is she?
So we. Okay, let's start over on this side of the room. Marlon, do you have? Will you get the? Can you get a mic down there?
I got it.
Thank you, Flo.
So while that's in transit, just an update. Jim just told me that sign-up information that Flo was talking about is actually on the CCNA website. So maybe Jim can send out just a reminder of where it's at or something. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it as always. I have a couple of items to update certain people in here, and I'll get with you after. Thank you for the time as always and letting us work to rectify the issues in your neighborhood. Really appreciate it. Thank you guys.
All right, 1 minute, Marlon.
You said 2.
He took up your other minute.
All right, just quickly, we have a city commission workshop coming up one Monday from this Monday. The two items on there will be urban forestry and green climate vulnerability update. So those interested in the urban forestry program, the status of that would be a city commission shop coming up the following Monday from this Monday. And just quickly, again, kudos to the police department and the presentation that they made. Again, I have to thank the city commission for the investment that they've made in the police department, Mayor Alpert, Vice Mayor Koch, Commissioner Trice, Commissioner Pate, and Commissioner Arroyo. And without that investment, it's a cause, there's an action. Without the investment, you're now seeing the results of that investment. So again, thanks to the commissioners and thanks to the community for the support for the police department.
Jen, Commissioner Jen, Vice Mayor.
Hi. Hi, everybody. Thank you for your involvement and for being here as always. I did ask Richard a little earlier if CCNA could have a spot on its website where all of your neighborhood associations can post your events or your meetings or your gatherings so that I and the other commissioners are aware of what's going on. I try to attend as much as I can. So in the interim, if you all wouldn't mind emailing me directly, any meetings, any events, I try to keep track of it, but it's much easier if I get a direct email from you inviting me or inviting the rest of the commissioners so that we can sort of say, okay, we'll do Gillespie Park on Tuesday and then I'll do this thing on Wednesday and, try to balance it all out, but I can't go if I don't know about it. So in the interim, if you wouldn't mind letting me know. And then, Pat, did you want to talk about the VO, Click to Fix? Yeah, big one.
Never saw a microphone I didn't like, right? Real quick, based on some community concern, but from someone wearing a pink shirt sitting next to me, we actually added on our Click to Fix a option to report out of pen VO scooters and bikes, which does happen on occasion, and VO does do their best to keep up with that. But we actually have more ridership than the city of St. Pete, so there's a lot of rides going on, and sometimes they get left on the sidewalk or in somebody's yard. If you go on our Click to Fix app now, you can actually go down. It's about 2/3 of the way down on the report issue, and it'll say VO bike or VO scooter out of pen or abandoned. If you click on that, just using the same thing that you do for everything on Click to Fix, it'll go to our parking department, who then will notify VO, and it'll be put on the next round for pickup. So thank you for that reminder, and it has worked. I actually tried it, and the stuff that I reported, they went away. So appreciate that. Thank you, Commissioner.
All right.
Where's this going?
Lucia? None? Okay. Steve? No?
Steve and Lucy are bowing out. Mayor?
Yep.
Just really quickly, and again, I thank all of you for all the hard work that you do in your neighborhoods. We really have such an active community in the city of Sarasota, so it's great to see. But we have the budget town hall May 7th, and I would love to be there, but I have a candidate forum that night, so I won't be able to attend. But I also by the Vice Mayor, I'd also like to be notified of events going on, especially in District 2. I don't think I was aware of the Laurel Park picnics, so just things that are going on. I'd appreciate getting notified about that because it's hard to keep up with trying to search out everything and see what's going on. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Pat, for the shout out for me bugging you about the Rosemary District Park, but I wanted to let everybody know I've also been bugging Pat with the roundabout at the post office. The city engineer's design is great in terms of a roundabout, but it's going to affect the parking lot of the post office. In fact, I'm concerned mostly about the parking lot of the post office is going to be even more of a mess if they don't change their design of the post office. That's federal, that's not city, we have no control, but I am regularly bugging Pat to get to them to do something about their design of their parking lot, because obviously what's going to happen when all the work is finished and it's a mess, the city will be blamed rather than the federal government for not updating their design. So please bear with us, and if you want to get to Congressman Stubbe and say you need to get the post office parking lot redesigned, that would also help. I also did want to mention with Click to Fix, frequently it is better to do a click to fix than to try to email city staff member or one of the commissioners directly, because Click to Fix knows who is the actual responsible person for fixing it. They will track the fix, they will get back to you, and if it's not a city issue, they will get to whether it's county or whatever agency and still follow up with you and let you know. So do Click to Fix first, and if you don't get a response, then get in touch with one of us. That's what I have. Thank you.
All right. Walter, are you still here? Yeah, give us 1 minute, Walter. Tell us what you do.
Well, my name is Walter Bailey. How are you? I'm with Brotherhood of Men. We work with about 60 kids every Thursday night, mentoring them, trying to get them to find out what they need to do for their own self. Because we have a lot of parents that doesn't give the kids the time enough to figure out right from wrong. So we strongly try to redirect them heartfully on trying to be ethical and have strong commitments on what they're doing. We try to get them to get A's and B's. We frown upon C's, and we work with them one-on-one when they're out of line. We don't chastise them. We hug them, yell at them sometimes, but we're getting through and we're doing a great job. And I want to thank everybody here, because I come here and I listen to everything y'all doing, and I really appreciate it, because I live in Washington, D.C., and this is like paradise to me. So I want to say thank you.
I would just like to thank Nancy Kelly. Both Rob and I forgot to thank her for everything you do for the neighborhoods and meeting us for the trailer and all the stuff. So thank you. The neighborhoods would be lost without you.
Yeah. He gets 2 microphones.
I get 2. Oh, I'll give one to Esther. A couple things on the U.S. recycling. Except for I'm not here. Okay. Anyway, the thing is, the state has such what I think are unreasonably high standards for what is considered dangerous. Basically, it has to be above a level for 24 hours, even though you can be peaking at several times above that amount for a couple hours. But it's not. Anyway, complain is what we need, and when there's clouds of dust coming across your property, please video it. And I was able to give the Central Coconut folks the contact information, get that in, and we need to form a case, and we need to hopefully inspire somebody to get rid of their property in a beautiful way. Hopefully in August, we're going to have a joint meeting with the city, both the county commission and the city commission. I'm looking forward to that. Let me see, what else? Oh, if you would like me to come to your neighborhood association schedule, and God willing, we'll be there. If you want to email me at mhsmith@scgov.net and let me know about what's going on. I'll sincerely try to get out. I'll try to hit as many neighborhoods as we can to find out what's going on out there. Esther's rice is unbelievable. I can't promise that. But anyway, thank you all for all you do.
Okay, remember, Scott?
I wanna say something about, I'm aware of the Brotherhood of Men, and when the police department, there are 4 or 5 mentors in each meeting that are police officers. And they participate in the meetings, they do presentations to the kids, they run group things. I mean, it's amazing, this community police work, what they're doing and what they're achieving as far as, communicating and really getting comfortable with the people in the neighborhood.
Thank you. All right, okay, remember, if you want your report in the minutes, send me the email. Yes, okay, the chairs, please take your chair to the wall. The way they like them done is a stack at each pillar of 5 high. Very, very, yeah, anyway, thank you everybody.